Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Whenever people spot Michigan in the news, they often notify me. And Keith sent me a note and said, Steve, Michigan man pops up in the news, but he pops up in Florida, where normally Florida man operates. So, man arrested for Tampa Bay real estate fraud, falsified defense evidence. The FDLE says. This story is from WFLA.com out of Florida, which is News Channel 8, the NBC affiliate. Sam Sachs wrote the story, and the man from Michigan is accused of a real estate scheme in 2017, but he was arrested again now, they say, for falsifying evidence in his own defense. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement announced the new charges and his arrest recently. According to the original arrest notice from the FDLE, in 2017, the man, who's from Wayne County, Michigan, had placed advertisements on Craigslist offering homes for sale or rent from April 2012 to June of 2014. And Wayne County is the county where Detroit is, southeast corner of the Lower Peninsula. However, he collected down payments or deposits on multiple homes in Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough counties. He didn't own the homes, according to the FDLE, nor did he have the right to offer them up for rent or sale. And this is actually something we've heard about a lot lately, where people run an ad on Craigslist, go, this house is for rent. And what they'll often do is they'll look for a home that is vacant or unoccupied at the time and hope they can pull it off. After collecting almost $50,000, they say, he was arrested for an organized scheme to defraud, and he was extradited to Pasco County to face charges. The Attorney General's Office of Statewide Prosecution is handling this case. He now faces charges for tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, which by itself is a third-degree felony. FDLE said this is the third time he's been arrested by the agency. In January 2022, agents reviewed documents submitted to the court by him, and investigators discovered the documents had been fabricated and altered, which a witness confirmed. After notifying the court of this, the man was arrested again this past week. As a result of new charges, they say that his bond was revoked by a Florida judge. And, anytime you're in a situation in life, and I've mentioned before certain pro tips, when there's a law enforcement agency that starts getting used to seeing you, you may have made some mistakes in your life. And these people keep encountering him. FDLE Tampa Bay special agent in charge says, with the current housing market being very uncertain for many in the Tampa Bay area, this is the last type of scam consumers need. I applaud our agents for their tenacity and attention to detail throughout this investigation. Intake logs from the county jail show the man was also charged with 2 counts of racketeering violations. He remains in custody with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office. So the scam is someone goes out and they poke around and they see a house that appears to be unoccupied. It might even be for sale, but there's no one living there. You get the address of the house, photographs of the house, and you post them on Craigslist. And you go, house for rent. House for rent. And some of these houses aren't that difficult to get into, and you can pretend that you actually have access to it. And someone shows up, and they look at the house, and you whip out a lease, you have them give you some money, and you take off. And it ain't your house. And that has happened countless times. And the problem with that is that it happens a lot in Craigslist, or with other scams, a lot of times like Facebook Marketplace, where anytime people can post ads for free using nothing but an email address or a made-up, social media account, people can post stuff for sale that they don't own. And it's common on Facebook Marketplace where people post things they don't own, with photographs of cars, for instance. And there's always this tale of woe about, I've got this car and I got to get rid of it now because we're being shipped out. I have 3 days to sell this car. Normally it's worth $50,000. I'll sell it today for $5,000. If someone can just wire me the money. There is no car. In these cases, there were houses apparently, or places that looked like, you could rent out. But this guy had no authority to be doing this. And so the real interesting twist to this is that he got caught and charged with that. And the allegation is that while he's on trial for this, something gets submitted to the court on his behalf where he says, I've got evidence to defend myself. And somebody looks at it and goes, hey, that's not real. That's been forged. It's been altered. And so they didn't say what the documents were, but I'm wondering if they were like title documents to show who owned the property. Because the interesting thing about title documents is that the originals are all stored someplace. There's a register of deeds who keeps track of title documents. And so if you've got a title document showing you as the owner of something, there should be another document showing how it was transferred to you by the previous owner to create that chain of title. And so that kind of stuff is fairly easy to figure out, but you'd be surprised. Once in a while, people get away with this stuff because nobody bothers to dig into it. And sometimes they get away with just, people miss it. But in this case, apparently somebody caught it. So the man's in a bit of trouble in Florida. And the one thing I'm not clear on here is it says the Michigan man is from Wayne County. They don't say if he was pulling this off from Wayne County or if he was going to Florida, because that's the even crazier thing, is that someone could go online and look at, like, say, real estate listings and pull photographs off of those. And they could do that any place that's got real estate listed in the world, because it's all connected to the internets. So somebody sitting in their basement in Wayne County, Michigan, could pull up all the photographs of a house in Florida. They could post it for sale or rent on Craigslist and work with somebody over the internet. But there's going to be some issues that'll pop up. But let's suppose somebody does this right and makes it look more legitimate. And they show up and they say, we're going to rent you a house. You want to rent a house? I've got the house you can rent. I'll meet you there. So I meet you in front of the house and I'm pretending it's mine. Now, I could have gotten keys for it fairly easily. That's not that difficult to come up with. But I come up with keys. I give you a tour of the house. You like it. I say, yeah, I'm renting it for X number of dollars a month. I need that plus a security deposit. And I whip out a lease. So I've heard a lot of these stories involving cash. That's a problem. So I guess the one thing you could do that would really eliminate a lot of this is not enter into rental transactions for cash. And, I've rented places in my life, and the only time I ever gave anybody cash for a rental, and it was when I was renting a place and I met the agent at the rental, and the rental was listed on the website for the agent, and the agent who met me had a card showing he was from that agency. And I said, I want this place. And the guy said, okay, you're going to have to give me something to hold it, and then we'll get you a lease and so on and so forth. And I actually pulled out a $100 bill, much like one that's on the set. Not the same one, though, because this was before that all happened. But I remember I whipped out a $100 bill and handed it to the guy, and the guy wrote me a receipt. He had a book of receipts with him because he had a whole suitcase full of stuff that made him look legitimate. And I understand that doesn't prove he's legitimate, but it turned out to be legitimate. And so I lived there for a little while. So that's the story. You got to be careful about them Craigslist things for sale or rent. Man arrested for Tampa Bay real estate fraud, falsified defense evidence, according to the FDLE in Florida. And Sam Sachs wrote the story, but it caught our attention because it was a man in Michigan man, operating temporarily in Florida. Keith sent it. Thanks a lot. WFLA.com ran it. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Better to have a single sentence manifesto about your life which is fulfilled than to have 25 chapters theories about your vision that remain undone.